We finna rule this planet. We ain't gonna keep God laws, and we keeping them with Glennis. Y'all walk around with sadness. Ready for the war, we standing. We hit the street, they panic. Strip coming out, they vanish. You will never ever say to me black or Hispanic, cause my nationality.
It's people on this earth, direct enemies to the Most High God above, Christ, His Son, the Black Messiah, and the children of Israel. The Bible deals with it, and that's what we're trying to bring out to you. And guess what else the Bible does? The Bible brings solutions to the issues and the problems that are plaguing our community.
We're not rising up with knives or gangs. We're not rising up with that. We're rising up with the word of God. Read. He created us in His image, and He gave us the whole world. You ever seen the movie Scarface? Guess what? The whole world is yours, and everything in it.
We're going over that. This is something big, because like they push this in our community, and everybody thinks that this is the actual image of Jesus Christ. So when our people see that, they think that we're nothing, because it's pushed that white is right and black is wrong. So they think that we're the bad guys, and that the white people must be good. What's your name, my brother? Is it Garrett? Garrett? Garrett. All right, Garrett. I'm David, Tasha, Torres, and this is right here, Dream.
You never heard that Christ was a black man.
You never heard that Christ was a black man either. All right, so what denomination of faith did you grow up under? Christianity? All right, so in that faith, right, what did they teach you? Or what did they tell you that Christ was?
I was never really told, like, Christ was probably getting hot.
You said what now?
Alright, thank y'all though, I'm gonna keep this, okay?
Come close, I can barely hear you.
I said I wasn't told.
So you wasn't told what color he was. All right, so in the churches, right, most of the times, or what you will see, a matter of fact, like in your house, right, in your grandmother's house, did you have like pictures up on the wall like of Jesus or like God and stuff like that? What color were they? White, right? Like just like this, right? So that's what they have. So they have that on the walls, and they push that as the image. But when it comes to actually backing it up with the scriptures, it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's not there. It's mythical. We made it up. But they push that. So we're going to see whether what they're pushing is right or what they're pushing is false. All right? So we're going to use the Bible. You believe in the Bible, right? The King James Version Bible. We're going to use this to show you exactly what color Christ is. Go ahead.
The book of Revelation, chapter 1 and verse 1.
Bring it out.
The revelation of Jesus Christ.
So this says the revelation of Jesus Christ, right? Jared or Derek? I'll make sure I'm saying the name right. Garrett. So I had it right first time. Garrett. So Garrett, this is the revelation or the revealing of Jesus Christ, right? So they're going to show you exactly what he looks like. Go ahead.
Which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. Right. And he signified it by his angel unto his servant John.
So all these things were shown unto John the Revelator, right? And everything he saw, he did something with it. He's going to show you exactly what he did. Go ahead.
Who bear record of the word of God, right, and of the testimony of Jesus Christ, of all those things that he saw. So,
Garrett, just like how you see me right now, right? If you were to bear record to me, if anybody asked you, hey man, when you was out there by Southgate and you was talking to them guys, what did he look like? You say, okay, there was a guy talking with the mic, purple shirt, black pants, black boots, and glasses. Probably about 5 foot tall. So you're giving a description of what you saw, right? It's the same thing with John the Revelator. So what he saw Jesus, he did the exact same thing. Hey, listen, this is what I saw. He looked like this or he looked like that. So we're going to show you exactly what he looks like. Verse 14.
Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
So just like how you see everybody out here right now, you can be like, okay, this brother right here got a blue hat on. This brother has an afro. He got shades on his head. So everything you saw is what you say. He said what he saw was the hairs on his head and the hairs on his face were white in color, but the texture was wool. Just like touch your hair. That would be wool right there. So that same textured hair that you got, that is wool. That's the same color. That's the same textured hair that Christ had.
Hey.
He had woolly hair also. It was just white in color because of the wisdom that he had. Go ahead.
As white as snow, and his eyes was a flame of fire.
And it said his eyes was a flame of fire, right? So, with our people, when we drink, what do the whites of our eyes? What color do they turn when we drink? They turn red. They turn red. Like you ever seen that one of your uncles at a party or something, a function, you drink a little bit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his eyes turn red. So that's exactly what happened right here with Christ. So the whites of his eyes turned red because he drank wine also. He didn't drink it to get drunk, but he drank wine in moderation. So that's why the whites of his eyes were red. Go ahead.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
Right, so it said now, we know that Christ has woolly hair. He has, the whites of his eyes are red, right? So with those two things that we know right now, well, three, really, it said his feet was like fine brass. So even with those three things that you heard so far, looking at this picture, does this guy look anything like that? At all? No, right? So he don't have woolly hair. He has like what, stringy goat hair. The whites of his eyes are white. They're not red, like the Bible says. And he don't have brass that skin it like unto fine brass. So let me ask you, what color is brass or fine brass? Like a close comparison. Close to gold, right? Yeah. Gold, brown, yeah. So we're gonna see exactly how dark or how light he was to that color. Go ahead.
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace.
Right, so you ever seen the aftermath of either a car burning down or like a building burning down? What color is it? It's black, right? So, which you knowing that, with that verse being read right there,
right,
Jesus Christ would be what? You just said it.
Black.
Exactly. Jesus Christ would be a black man.
Yes,
that's what the Bible depicts him as. So this guy right here, that's not the true image. This is actually a real man. It's called he's called Caesar Borgia. They painted him as the image of Christ to confuse us. So everybody thinking that, okay, Caesar Borgia, right? He was Pope Alexander VI's son. They painted a real man as the image of Christ to confuse all the masses later on in history. So that's what they did, and that's why everybody believes that this is Jesus Christ, because that's what was pushed back then. And it pretty much been a thing that kind of goes on and on and on. Everybody just says, okay, that's what they say, that's what it is. Nobody really questions it, they just go along with it. So we're gonna see why this happened right here. Give me that Maccabees. So we're gonna see exactly what happened right here, right? So they took the image of Christ and said this was him, but he's more closely depicted to the image on the far left, right? Now we're not saying that's exactly what he looks like, but it's a closer depiction to what Christ would actually look like if he was on the earth today. Not this, but we're gonna see exactly why they did this right here. Go ahead.
The book of 1 Maccabees 3 and verse 48. And laid open the book of the law.
So the book of the law is talking about the Bible, right? So this is a heathen. They opened up the Bible, they're reading it, and they did some things. They're gonna show you exactly what they did. Go ahead.
Wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
So the heathen would be any nation outside of the 12 tribes of Israel, right? So these nations sat down with this book, they opened it up and said, okay, I was reading it, and they came across the image of Christ, right? They know the scripture. They know where it's at. They'll tell you that they don't. So they saw this and read it and was like, hey, if anybody reads this, they could put 1 and 2 together and figure out that Christ is a black man.
Right.
But we can't have them knowing that. So what did they do? They set up this image right here, which is a real man, Pope Alexander VI's son, Caesar Borgia. They set him up as the image of Christ to push that and confuse everybody. Yeah. And that's why a lot of people don't question it, but that's what happened. So with you knowing that would change the mindset of all of our people. With them knowing that Christ looks like them and that he's not actually a white man, that'll change the way we think or how we see each other. We wouldn't see each other as nothing or not being special or anything like that. Because the Most High God calls you special. You know that? The Most High God calls us special. So we're going to show you that in the Bible right here. And I was going to show you one more thing right after this. I ask you a question. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. Bring it out. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
So when you hear all this, this is speaking of the Israelites. So your question should be like, dang, man, these people, like, God holds them to like a high esteem and they're like way up there. So the question should be, who are they, right? So you don't know anybody walking on the earth today that just naturally calls themselves Israelites, right? So what we got to do is we got to ask ourselves, with reading this Bible and what happened with the Israelites, line up who today lines up closely with them. So what we're going to do is show you that you today are an Israelite. You might not know that, like, for like a job application, right? For your race. What would you put down for your race? Black, right? So if I ask, most of our people would put down either black or for their nationality. But if we were to ask the nationality, it'd be stuff like black, Negro, African American, Afro American. It's like you're all the same people. We're all given different answers as to what we are, what our nationality is. That's because we don't know. But we're going to show you today who you are according to this Bible. We're going to read some curses for you, and I want you to tell me what it sounds like, right? So he can be like, okay, that does make sense. Read what you got.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15.
Bring it up.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So this is Moses talking to the Israelites, right? He's saying, listen, if y'all don't listen to what I'm saying right now, which hearken said, if y'all don't listen to what I'm about to say right now, these things are going to happen to you. So either you can listen or not listen, and something's going to happen to you, right? Go ahead.
To observe and to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So it said what would happen to the Israelites is that if they decided not to listen to the Most High God's commandments, right? It's almost like a father and a child. A father gives you some rules like your dad, right? Say your dad told you, hey, man, listen, we need some milk for the house. I need you to run to the store and get this milk. I need you to have it before the day's over with. You're like, okay, Dad, I got you. So if the day goes by and you don't do that, your dad gonna be happy with you, or is he gonna get some kind of punishment? Because he gave you a set of rules, right? He said to do what? Have the milk before the day's over with. So if you do it, you'll be good. If you don't do it, there'll be some consequences, right? The same thing right here. He was saying, listen, y'all either can follow these commandments and y'all be okay, or if you break them, there's some curses that will follow after you and will identify who you are today. And that's what's a good thing about it. The curses was bad, but it's good because we can now identify who the Israelites are today. Right. Give me verse 30. Verse 30.
Deuteronomy 28 and verse 30.
Bring it out.
Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
So it said we were going to have families, right? You'd have like man and wife. So you would have your wife, but another man will lie down with her, right? Go ahead.
And thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
It also said that we would build houses, right? So we would be building the houses, but we wouldn't be living in these houses, right? Go ahead.
Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
It said we're also going to have crops and fields, but all these things that we're laboring for, we're not going to reap the labors of it. So what does this sound like so far? We would be married, but our wives would be separate with other men. We would have houses, we'll build houses, but we wouldn't live in these houses. And also said we would have fields of like fruits and crops and stuff, but we wouldn't be able to reap from it. What does this sound like to you? This right here. This is exactly what it's going into. Slavery. That's exactly what it's talking about. Because in slavery, what happened? We would get married, and then the master would come in, take the woman, and then give him like, hey, I got this, I got Master Charles coming from this plantation, so he's gonna need your bed wench right there to come lay with her. Right. That's what happened. That's that betrothed the wife, and another man lay with her. And then you have the building houses, like the White House, right? We built the White House. We don't live in the White House. Right. We built our slave masters' plantations, but we didn't live in their big house. We had little shacks or whatever. And then the vineyards, being the cotton fields, the watermelon fields, tobacco fields, we would pick all that stuff, but we never reaped any of the benefits from it, right? So far, that's one curse that relates to who we are. So it's like, okay, so far, it sounds like they could be us. It sounds like Israelites could be us. But let's read more to further prove the fact. Give me verse 48.
Verse 48. Thou shalt serve thy enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness, and in the want of all things.
Right, so it said that the Lord would send our enemies against us in the hungers, thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, right? So these things, what you got to remember is that these curses all line up with the Israelites, right? So everybody see on this sign right here, on the left-hand side, that's what our God-given names. But on the right-hand side, that's what we got through slavery, right? So American, Black, West Indian, Haitian, Puerto Rican, Cuban, all those names were given to us, which are bywords outside of our God-given name, right? But also here in verse 48, it states that we would be serving our enemies that the Lord sent against us, right? So this enemy was sent against us by the Lord for breaking his commandments. That's what you got to remember. The whole reason why we suffer through all these things right here, parent slave trade, slavery, all that happened because of our disobedience to the Most High God. So you got to remember that you're not a black man, but you are what? With everything you just heard so far, you would be what? You'll be an Israelite. Because you got to remember, all these curses happened to the Israelites. Slavery, having the slave man sleep with the wife, building their houses, not living in their houses, having the crop fields, not benefiting from it. All these things happen to them, and it lines up with us, with our history. So that's how you got to look at it. It's kind of confusing, but once you have somebody explain it to you, it's like, okay, I can see where you're going with it, and it makes sense. Because in the churches, they're not going to teach you that. All they're going to teach you is that Jesus Christ is a white man. Right. God so loved the world. No man can judge you. There's all these staple things that they teach in Christianity where it's like, okay, you know, like certain quotes, but actually the Bible, you never really learned the Bible because the Bible is only for us. But they're not going to teach that because then their business with Christianity or the churches, which is really a business, will fail and they wouldn't get money.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.